If you like what you're seeing here, please hit the subscribe button and tell your friends to do the same, yeah? I just dug this up from the archives of one of my old laptops. I don't recall how this bit of Sissy's writing came into my possession, but I do recall the events she describes. My big sister, tree hugger Betty, Elizabeth Walter, in 1977 had recently divorced Ed Liptowski, who had worked for Boeing Aircraft. That had been a horrifying marriage. They had ended it in New York City after having previously lived in Detroit, Seattle, and Minneapolis. Sissy, at the time of this outpouring, lived in West Hollywood, having moved there because Los Angeles was the central seat of primal scream therapy. Sissy is here writing about another of our sisters, Dottie. So what follows are Sissy's words from 1978. There's Dottie. Dottie K. How good it feels to have you whole again. The little girl in patent leather shoes was missed. She made my heart swell with pride. She touched a tenderness in my soul. How I loved her. But she grew up and angry at the hurt of being compared and faltering in the eyes of someone she loved so much. Her anger made me hesitate, walk on tiptoe, trying to understand, trying to compensate. A year together in New York and 100 spinach crepes and rosé wine at 2 a.m. when the lovemaking upstairs got too loud or the pimp was beating his girl next door, and all the Liza Minnelli concerts and little night musics couldn't take the sting away. I left you to get whole myself, knowing that if you leaned on the sand of my life for help, we would both collapse. And while I spilled my guts on a padded floor, you grit your teeth and bore up under a chip that nearly broke your shoulder. Then, just as I was licking the last of my wounds, standing alone without rubber legs, you let go of the chip and the stiff upper lip and crash-dived into your own agony, battered and beaten until you hit something solid called bottom. The chip shattered into 1,000 pieces and laid you bare to the hurt and the need you must have felt when the patent leather shoes were retired to goodwill and your dimples didn't shield you. How good to have you whole again. Hurting out loud only precedes laughing again out loud once the aching has spent itself. Welcome home. Now that's that. Sissy and I have always had a simpatico. She was the first in the family to get a divorce, and she was the first to employ any kind of psychological therapy not found in a confessional. She tried EST, Gestalt, and she attended channelings, Mr. Peebles. That one always makes me think of Magilla Gorilla. And Ram Dass. She was certainly searching for something, venturing into areas where no Kolinsky had gone before. And Dottie, whilst attempting to exorcise her own demons, finally settled in with a nice Jewish boy, David Gubo. And with him had 2 daughters, Rachel and Jackie. Dottie, whilst retaining her Catholicism, raised her children, her daughters, as Jews. Both were bat mitzvahed. I considered Dottie to be a miracle worker. She had done what the Mahatma had suggested to a Muslim man who had murdered a Hindu boy. Find a Hindu orphan and raise him as a Hindu. What could be a more daunting task than that? Now, back at Jesu, when I was about 6, I was told the story of a man who had dug a hole on the shore of the sea. And he was repeatedly taking a cup of water from the sea and pouring it into the hole he had dug. He was doing this for some time when the image of an angel appeared to him. The angel spoke to the man, asking, "What are you doing?" The man said he was trying to understand the concept of God. To which the angel said, "You will have poured that entire sea into your hole in the sand before you will have understood the nature of the divine." Another image that sticks in my mind from the same time period was a picture that I found in my prayer book. I don't have that one anymore, but it showed a young boy and girl about my same age standing at the fork in the road that they were on. To their right was the path to heaven. It was entirely uphill and it was loaded with potholes and rocks for them to stumble upon. To their left, the sinister direction, there was what looked like one of those giant slides you find at a water park. It looked like fun, and no other path was available. I decided on the right path, the path to heaven. I've always preferred an uphill climb, and the path on the left looked to me like it would be over much too quickly. So, the imagery presented to me at the age of 6 did its job. I had already decided I was going to be a priest. My life on Turner Avenue was way tougher than that craggy mountain track presented in my prayer book. And the whoopings I'd gotten at home, well, those nuns could have taken lessons from my mom and dad. Nah. The harder climb didn't scare me in the least. Thanks for watching.